morning. Well, this is loading up here, I guess. My name is James Ty. I'm actually from Madison, Wisconsin, born and raised. I have nothing to do with science, never did a degree in biology or limnology or civil engineering like that. I'm actually what you consider a community organizer and got involved with the Clean Lakes Festival back in 2010. So I'm just going to go through a couple slides here, and I actually probably going to stop every once in a while and see if we have any questions as we sort of go along here. So the Clean Lakes Alliance was founded in 2010, but first I want to give you a little bit of information about the Green Lake area that you might not know. Actually, rain is our biggest problem that is going on. And so if you look at here, this starts in the 1950s of 1-inch rain events. As you can see, you're getting more and more rain every single year of 1-inch rain events. So what happens when you get 1 inch of rain in one day? Anybody know? Runoff, right? And so your runoff is going up every single year. Now, go to the next. Now these are 2-inch, and you get a little variability, but the trend line is going to go, you're getting more of those. Really bad. Now if you go here, again, you see this trend, and then we don't know what's going on in 2000. So really, what we have noticed is basically, whether you want to call it climate change, weather pattern change, I don't care what you call it, but everybody can agree you're getting more rain events, and the water is not having enough time to soak into the ground. And so that's the real big problem. And I had our program manager put that together to sort of give you an idea. And then that rain obviously carries down phosphorus to your lakes. How many people here know a pound of phosphorus equals how many pounds of algae? And nobody from the government can answer. And it's how many pounds are coming into your lake a year of phosphorus? 18,000. Are you ready? 9 million pounds of algae are going to your lakes every year. It's a 1 to 500 equation. So 1 pound of phosphorus equals 500 pounds of algae. That's not good at all. So the Clean Lakes Alliance was really formed from a group of citizens that were putting together a ski team show all the time. Then basically I came on board. They had basically a party once a year called the Clean Lakes Festival. They got some donors, and then they would just have the party, and then they would just leave them alone for a while. So I came on board and sort of wrote a business plan to turn it from basically a party into an actual organization. And we worked on what is our, do we have a little pointer here? What's our vision? Our vision is not to get clean lakes. Our vision is not to reduce phosphorus by 50%. Our mission is that once everybody realizes that the lakes are the center of the community, the problem will sort of fix itself, right? So if the people who live in this watershed and around this area realize that the number one thing is the lake, that the problem will be solved. So how do we do that? We continue to build a community of people and businesses and organizations. Our mission is not to reduce phosphorus or anything like that, but the more people you get involved in your effort, the further you can go. What do you think that, my apologies, and I'll probably put my way, what is the average age of the people in this room?
50.
Right? So in Madison, and I would maybe move that up a few years. So in Madison, we had the same issue. Our Yahara Lakes Association has 400 members, and I would go to the board meeting, and it was basically 20 men over the age of 60 that would meet once a month. Our organization now, as you be coming up here, this is our watershed. So we have another large watershed, and I'll come back to this in a second when I go to the board, but you can see this is Columbia County. You go all the way through down to Rock County. It covers 5 lakes. We have 22 different municipalities, lots of different people going on. You guys had your team, that long list of organizations. There are about 50 nonprofits in the Madison area, as you would expect, that have something to do with the environment. So basically our job is how do we pull all these people together and start moving in one direction? So the biggest thing, again, is getting people involved. You need to get more people involved in your effort, and there's lots of different ways to get people involved. One is doing education. I think you guys do have some education programs, which is great. Doing more to get your virtual tours so you can, get out to people, get them involved. Engagement. We have right now 44 people going out to the end of their pier once a week and doing lake monitoring. They're doing temperature, they're doing clarity, they're doing once-a-month phosphorus program. And so that's really important, because what happens when you go out to the end of your pier and test the water? You go into town, you go to the hardware store, and you probably tell the person at the counter, like, the lake is more clear or not clear. So you start creating that conversation. It's just something very simple. And they're actually using this information at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Getting more volunteer opportunities. So we have corporate volunteer days. And so actually people going out and doing everything from picking up trash to removing invasive species to cutting down invasive plants and trees. So the thing that we did is actually realize that a lot of people, at least in the Madison area, want to be on a board, right? Nobody wants to be on a committee, right? I mean, committees do work, boards you get the vote and do sort of fun things. So I came up with a scheme, basically, and how do you get more people involved? So we have a community board here, and if you got the little handout, and if you maybe you can pass the rest of them out that are in the back there, we have our community board is made up of almost 30 people. It's 1/4 government, 1/4 corporations, people who represent corporations, 1/4 nonprofits, and then 1/4 just sort of people involved, citizens, and so they're not representing, American Family Insurance or Land's End or something like that. So the diversity of our board, and what happened then is we got young people, people with kids, we got people who are retired, we have former people who work at the DNR, and it got more people involved in an organization. We have the what I call, not to their faces, but the party board. This is the fundraising organization. They put on a golf event. They put on a monthly education program. They put on this huge party called Frozen Assets in Madison that brings about 650 people, and it nets like $50,000. But it is a cocktail party. It has nothing to do with the lakes. It is in the middle of the winter. It's an indoor-outdoor party. They have an ice bar and like that. But it gets people like me who are somewhere between the ages of 50 and 30 to go out and have a really good time and get them involved in the organization. From that one party, one of the examples, like, well, what does that really do? You spend a lot of money on that party. Because your budget here is what? $100,000. My party costs $100,000 to put on. And it nets 50. So, the total income is at least $150,000 every year. So it pays for a staff person. But we had a guy who owned a piece of property north of Lake Mendota that could not come to grips with selling it to the county, our land conservation organization. But he came to that party and goes, wow, like this is the place to be. There are all these, cool people in little cocktail dresses and, mixed crowd like that. He actually lowered the price by $100,000 and sold it to the county, and we brokered that deal. So maybe a party, you guys have a party coming up, right? It's 200, 300 people. It probably doesn't have that much to do with the lakes. You're not doing education. You're not going to tell them about your oxygen problem, things like that. But what is going to happen is you're going to get more people involved, and there's going to be a connection that's made that's going to result in something positive for your lakes in the future. So then we have committees. Strategic direction. This is, the DNR is on it. The sewer district is on it. That's where they're working together, but also with engineers from private companies and things like that to move everything forward. So that's sort of where all the government entities and private entities move forward together. Economic impact. What is the economic impact of the lake? Does anybody know? Green Lake provides how much money to the community? So we are in year 2 of an economic impact study. We actually have volunteers going through all the different bars, restaurants, boat landings, parks, and doing a survey of why the people were there, what did they do that day, what's the economic value? Because if you really want to make improvement, you can do a lot of fundraising for your organization. But really what you need to do is get your legislature to give them ammunition to vote to spend more money to the DNR so the DNR can do their job And what you need to do is tell them, this is the economic impact of our lake. It is money, right? And so if they have the power and the knowledge, and so knowing the economic impact of your lake is pretty important. Nominating, you guys all know what that is. Citizen Action Committee. So this is really, what do citizens do? A bag of leaves creates how much phosphorus? Anyway, we just figured this out, and I had a debate. I was talking to Mark earlier about like science and things like that. If I would have let these guys decide how much, because there's basically, what, are they wet leaves, are they dry leaves, what type of leaves are they, and they go back and forth, right back. But basically, it's 1.3 pounds of phosphorus is in a bag of leaves. So then I just go, well, skip the 0.3, it's basically 500 pounds. So if you go out in your yard and rake up a bag of leaves, that's 500 pounds of algae that you're saving from the lake. So how do you communicate that out to the public? So we are starting to work at, what are those citizen actions? Because people want to do something, right? You can talk about your big grants and everything like that, but as a citizen on my property, what's the best thing to do? And then telling that to the community. And then in the People's Republic of Madison, we got people on the far right, and we got the people on the far left, and getting them into the middle to agree, what you do. Because some people on my committee say, no, we do everything organic, and everybody should have one of those little boxes, and you do organic stuff in your thing. And then you see, we got like my mom who has like a person comes and does everything for her. And so you got to find the middle of the road. And so in Madison, that's really hard to do. So you guys probably have a little easier time up here figuring that out. But we are working on what are the things, best practices for things to do. This is the big one. And we've actually talked a lot about the DNR and doing this. This is actually a farmer-led organization. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing little shoes with no socks. I can't go to a farmer and tell him or her what to do on a farm. It just won't work. So what we did is we spent a year and a half. Ken Johnson, who's the former, what was his title? Big water guy, right?
Water administrator.
Water administrator. He's in charge of water for the state of Wisconsin. And he put together with our county about 5-6 farmers who are really doing the right thing on land practices. Anybody want to guess when most of the farms around Dane County and Madison were established? Any guesses? Pardon me? Louder. Yeah, so Civil War. Right after the Civil War. So they've been around for years. You cannot go to that person and tell them what to do on their farm. So we got the farmers who were doing the right thing together, helped them with the communication and the PR. Basically, they created a chamber of commerce of local farmers. And we are branding them Yahara Pride Farms. They get a sign, they're certified themselves, and then it's a farmer telling another farmer what to do and bragging rights. Because farmers are not going to call out each other and throw them under the rug about what they're doing right or wrong. And so by pulling your farmers together, it really helps, and they're proud. If the ones who are doing it right, they want to be proud, but they don't have the time. All your farmers, is there a farmer here, by the way? Anybody own land that's being rented? We got one gentleman in the back of his land who's being rented, and I can talk about that. I think we're going to lunch later, but there's some stuff about farming that's pretty interesting when you're renting land. So this group is huge. They've really taken off. We've got 12 farmers on our board. They had, and I'll be going up here later on, so I'm going to move on to my organizational chart. But it's really complicated. People in Madison had a hard time dealing with this when we started it. Now I'm going to show you a little video. I think the first one is sort of what's called Schooling for Cleaner Lakes. You had your list of team. There might be a lot of different organizations, but we're all sort of moving together in the same direction. So here we go.